In this video, we will review varArgs within the Java programming language. What would happen if you didn't know how many arguments you needed to pass to a method? What would happen if you wanted to pass unlimited variables to a method? There is an answer for these questions in Java. It is simple, and it is the varArgs construct. Using this concept, you can send as many parameters of the same type without any restriction. An example will give you a better understanding. I'm going to create a method called method normal to represent how normally methods are used. Here's a normal method with two parameters being passed. Remember, this normal method above takes no more than two parameters of type int. Normal methods have a drawback in that you must ensure that values to every parameter are passed when you make the method call, and you cannot dynamically pass an arbitrary number of parameters. Now let's create a varArgs method. Here I'm creating my varArgs method, and you're going to notice the differences. I'm going to be using a regular for loop to access the values. I'm going to access the length of the array being used. I'm going to sum up the total. And I'm going to print the total summed up of all the values passed. Total equals we'll also return the total. Now I'm going to pass the values to the method args, which takes any number of values by separated commas. I'm going to pass in the number 2 and 3. And I'm going to use another one to show you how I can pass in any number of parameters I want. Let's dissect the method which has a varArgs construct. You can use this construct called varArgs to pass an arbitrary number of values to a method. As you can see here, in this method call, I only pass in 2 parameters. And in this method call, I pass in 4. Did the method signature change? It didn't. You use varArgs when you don't know how many of a particular type of argument will be passed to the method. In this example, method varArgs takes as many number of parameters as you give it of type int. The 3 dots after the data type in the method signature indicates that the variable argument is defined. The type of the varArgs is int, and the name given is a. The variable a in the method varArgs acts like the reference of an int array. You can use varArgs not only for primitive types, but for classes as well. Let's take a look at a string example. Let's uncomment the code which uses a string. Here we're calling the append string method, and we're passing in 4 parameters. Again, we're using the varArgs elliptical construct. In our method, we will use a string buffer. We will use the enhanced for loop to access our string values and append them to the buffer, and we will print out the appended values. I could use this append string method and add as many parameters as I wanted without changing the method signature or overloading the method. Let's look at another example. Let's use the enhanced for loop again to walk through the array and calculate the average. Here I have calculate average method, which again uses the varArgs construct. In one call, I'm passing in 3 parameters. In a second call, I'm only passing in 2. Now let's run the code. Run as Java application. We can see that the method varArgs, in this case, the first time the total was 5, and the second time the total was 19. We can see that it effectively appended all of the strings to the string buffer. And it also was able to calculate the average with different parameters. This concludes our discussion of varArgs in Java.